You're not gonna believe what just went down in the MMA world. We've got some massive news that's got everyone talking. One of the biggest champions in the UFC just made a decision that has Dana White scrambling to figure out his next move. Plus, we've got an update on a situation involving a legend's son that's gotten super serious. And I mean serious. And if that wasn't enough, there's drama surrounding one of the most dominant champions we've seen in years. Stick around because this is getting wild. All right, so let's talk about Islam Makhachev first. This dude is currently sitting pretty as a two-division champion after absolutely dominating Jack Della Maddalena at UFC 322 back in November at Madison Square Garden. I'm talking a complete shutout, 50-45 on all the scorecards. The man looked unstoppable. Now here's where it gets interesting. The UFC had big plans for Islam. They wanted him to headline their first major event under the new Paramount Plus era, UFC 324, going down on January 24th in Las Vegas. But here's the thing, Islam said no. Wait, let me back up because this is important. Islam had just fought in mid-November, right? He beat Della Maddalena on November 15th to become the new welterweight champ. So Dana and the UFC brass approached him in early December and were like, "Hey champ, want to fight again in January?" Now do the math with me real quick. November 15th to January 24th? That's what, like 9 weeks? That's a super quick turnaround for a championship fight, especially when you just went through a full 5-round war to win a second belt. Islam himself explained the situation in a recent interview. He said, "They called me in December asking about January, but I'd already been in camp for 3 months before my last fight. It was already too late. I needed more time." Smart move, honestly. The dude just became a two-division champ. Let him breathe. But wait, there's more. His co-manager, Ali Abdelaziz, revealed that the potential opponents they were discussing were huge names, Kamaru Usman and Ian Machado Gary. Both are killers in the welterweight division. Islam himself thought it might have been Michael Morales, the undefeated Ecuadorian who's 19-0. But regardless of who it was, Islam was like, "Nah, I'm good." So what's next for Islam? He's looking at fighting after Ramadan, which puts us at April, May, or June of next year. Unless, and this is crazy, unless the UFC wants him for their White House event. Yeah, you heard that right. The White House. If you're enjoying this breakdown of all the craziness happening in MMA right now, do me a solid and hit that subscribe button. Now let me tell you about something that's been absolutely dominating headlines for months. This story involves MMA legend Quinton Rampage Jackson and his son Raja. And I gotta warn you, this gets pretty heavy. So back in August at a Knox Pro Wrestling event in California, something went horribly wrong. Raja Jackson, who's a professional MMA fighter with a 4-0 amateur record, was involved in an incident with a pro wrestler named Seiko Stu, real name Stuart Smith. Here's what went down. During the event, there was apparently some kind of altercation earlier in the day where Psycho Stu hit Raja with a beer can. It was supposed to be part of the wrestling act, but Raja didn't know that. He thought it was real. So later, Raja got written into the show, like he was supposed to be part of the performance, but things went off the rails. Raja entered the ring, picked up Seiko Stu, slammed him onto the mat, and then, this is where it gets bad. He delivered more than 20 undefended punches to Stu's head, and Stu was already unconscious. Other wrestlers had to pull Raja off. Seiko Stu ended up in the hospital with serious injuries, a fractured jaw, lacerated lip, lost several teeth, and a serious head injury. His wife said it was an unscripted assault. The whole thing was live-streamed on Kick, and Raja's account got banned immediately. Now here's where Rampage himself comes in, and this is why I respect him. Instead of making excuses for his son, Rampage went public in early September and said something that shocked a lot of people. He said Raja should go to jail. His exact words were, "Raja, I think that he should do a little jail time, do a little community service, and go to anger management class, get some therapy." Rampage also said, and this is important, that it wasn't attempted murder. He knows his son wasn't trying to kill anybody, but he admitted Raja messed up big time and needs to face consequences. On September 19th, Raja was actually arrested in Huntington Beach. They got him on felony battery charges, He posted $50,000 bond and got out. But in October, Raja pleaded not guilty in court. And here's the kicker. If he's convicted, he could face up to 7 years in prison because of the great bodily injury enhancement. As of now, Raja's case is still ongoing. Rampage has been pretty open about being disappointed in his son. In interviews, he said he's not even talking to Raja right now because of how serious this is. What makes this even crazier is that Rampage has been in the wrestling world himself. He worked with TNA back in the day with Tito Ortiz, so he knows how this stuff is supposed to work. And he's been adamant that the promoters share some blame for putting Raja in that ring when he had no business being there. But at the end of the day, Rampage is holding his son accountable. That takes guts. All right, last but definitely not least, let's talk about Ilia Topuria. This dude is one of the most exciting fighters in the UFC right now. He's the current lightweight champion, and he became the 10th two-division champion in UFC history when he knocked out Charles Oliveira at UFC 317 back in June. The guy is undefeated, never lost a fight, and he's been calling out everyone. Islam Makhachev, Paddy Pimblett, you name it. But then, in late November, Topuria dropped some news that caught everyone off guard. He announced he wouldn't be fighting in the first quarter of next year. At first, people thought maybe he was injured or something. But nope, it was way more serious than that. On December 16th, Topuria put out a full statement on Instagram explaining everything. And man, this is heavy. Topuria revealed that he's dealing with false allegations of domestic abuse and what he calls an extortion attempt. In his statement, Topuria said the situation stems from his separation from Georgina Uzcategui-Bedell, who's the mother of his youngest daughter. He claims there have been attempts at extortion, threats, and pressure to spread false accusations. He says he's gathered evidence, audio recordings, messages, testimonies, and videos. And it's all in the hands of judicial authorities now. Topuria was super clear about one thing. He firmly denies ever committing any acts of violence. He said his values are rooted in respect, discipline, and honesty. And he's confident the legal system will determine the facts based on evidence. Topuria explained that the UFC understands the situation and respects his decision. They're even planning an interim title fight while he's away. The current plan is for Paddy Pimblett to fight Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight title at UFC 324 on January 24th. Topuria made it clear this isn't him stepping away from the sport. It's a necessary pause to deal with something he considers more important than competition. He's focusing on his children, who he calls the pillars of his life. The whole MMA community is basically waiting to see how this plays out. Topuria's asked for privacy and won't be making further public statements out of respect for his kids and the legal process. So there you have it, 3 massive stories all happening at the same time. Islam Makhachev turning down a quick turnaround fight and making Dana White rework his plans for UFC 324. Smart decision by the champ to prioritize proper preparation over rushing back. The ongoing legal situation with Raja Jackson that has Rampage publicly saying his son needs to face consequences. A father holding his son accountable even when it's painful. Mad respect for that. And Ilia Topuria stepping away from the octagon to handle serious personal and legal matters that he says involve false allegations and extortion attempts. A champion putting family first. 2026 is shaping up to be absolutely wild for MMA. These stories are just the beginning. What do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Islam have taken that January fight? Do you think Raja will face jail time? And what about Topuria? How do you think this situation plays out? Let me know down below. And hey, if you made it this far, you're a real one. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next video with more MMA news and breakdowns.